Hi, this is Christopher David James, author of A Pirate's Life for Me, A Pirate's Life Indeed. I just wanted to show you what the cover was if you actually didn't know. In one of my other videos, basically, I kind of showed it to you, but this is probably a better angle of it. You see Thomas Patch there reading his book, Pirates of the Caribbean, a book that his father, Courageous Patch, gave him. And he's read it 1,000 or so times, and he's excited now as he was when he first read it. His cat Jasmine, who's a character in the book, is sitting basically in his lap. You can see the town of Schooner Bay Cove in the background, the stars in the sky. This vision came to me in my head, and I gave it to Page Publishing and my publishing coordinator at the time, Leanna Lewis, and they put my vision down on the front cover, and I couldn't have asked for a better job. I'm very, very happy with it. So that gives you an idea of what it looks like. And as you turn it, A Pirate's Life for Me, A Pirate's Life Indeed. Yep, there's my name. And I dedicated this book to several people that are extremely important to me in my life. First and foremost, my parents who have passed on, my mom, my dad, my brother Joe especially, and my brother Mike. And I also dedicated this to my English teacher, Mr. Matthew Myers, who now lives in Florida. He's a good man. He's the one who brought me out of my shell when I was 16, and he was a true inspiration for me. We're still friends to this day, 30-something years later. I am grateful to him then. I am very grateful to him now. And I'm blessed to have him in my life and call him my friend. This book also, I want to dedicate it, and I didn't put it in writing, is to two commanders. I went to a school in high school called the Marine Academy of Science and Technology. I actually was the first class to graduate, first four-year class. I still have my ribbons, still have my sword. One of the best times of my life was becoming battalion commander. At the age of 18, having 350 cadets under me, we won the Unit Citation Award that year. The group really pulled through for me. And I got to tell you something, every time I go back to Sandy Hook, I just get nothing but nostalgic memories. One of the highlights of my life was that when I was 18. Sometimes they tell you peak at 18. Well, yeah, it was a great year for me. I also graduated that year in 1986. But Mr. Matthew Myers, I met him when I was 16, very shy kid, 125-year-old kid. And he, like I said, was a true inspiration for me. Commander Dan Golson, Commander Dan Gorman, who have passed on. Commander Dan Golson flew. He was an aviator and flew in Vietnam. Very good man. One of my heroes. He won the Bronze Star, and unfortunately he's passed on. He speaks like 7 languages. A very, very brilliant man. And Commander Tom Gorman was, it was his influence that kept that school going. I'm grateful to both gentlemen, and I hope they're smiling down from heaven, and I hope they're proud of this one-time cadet. As I open the book, it shows you the table of contents, and each chapter is in a book in itself. It starts off with Schooner Bay Cove. It describes the town of Schooner Bay Cove. And again, like I mentioned, the book is very a lot of narration, very narrative. I wrote it like this purposely because if you close your eyes and somebody read it to you, you can picture yourself actually there with Thomas Patch, the main character, and his crew as they search for Blackbeard's lost treasure of gold. So Schooner Bay Cove starts it off. Chapter 2 is The Pirates Are Back. A crew of dysfunctional pirates that come back with Scar, the meanest, dirtiest, cutthroat pirate ever to rule the high seas. There's a chapter called A Barrel of Apples. I'm not going to give the chapters away, but it's a very, very good chapter. Meet the Pirates. That's where you actually get to meet all 12 of the dysfunctional pirates of Scar's crew. The Dinner Bell and a little old Birdie Therapy. Birdie is one of the main characters in the book. I fashioned him after Liberace. He wears purple Johnny Parachi pajamas. He really shouldn't be a pirate, but he is. He drinks Cosmos all day. He dresses in purple silk pajamas. He likes to take soaks in his hot tub. Very, very funny character. He does pirate Pilates. And like I said, he drinks Cosmos all day. You'll get a chance to meet him if you buy the book. Chapter 6 is Scar and his dirty bird sidekick Robert. I love him. He might just be my favorite character in the entire book. a crotchety old crow, basically. He loves Seinfeld. In the book, I called it Steinfeld to kind of change it up. You know what I mean. But he's a big fan of the show, and he definitely loves Donald Rump. And I'll let you put two and two together. He thinks Hillary Clinton would have made a great pirate. I'll leave it at that. All right. Like I said, I tried to bring a little politics in a fun way into this book. Again, this book takes place in the year 1718, the golden age of piracy, the romantic times of piracy with Blackbeard. Here's my cat once again, Mama Cat. She will never let me do things that I have to do. But isn't she pretty? Yeah, say hello. All right. But anyway, basically, where did I leave off here? Dino Bell and Old Birdie Therapy, Scar and his Dirty Bird sidekick, Robert. You're going to love Robert. Trust me, you will. Chapter 7 is the grave of Silas Barnabas. Silas Barnabas was one of Scar's partners. His other partner was Morgan the Pirate. You're going to have to find out if you read the book who they are. Chapter 8, the fundamentals of Pirate Baseball. Pirates Baseball, who's on deck. That's where you get to really meet the two characters, Sticks and Tubby, I fashioned after Abbott and Costello. I rewrote Who's on First to pay homage to my comedic heroes. You'll have to read the book. That chapter took a while to write. It was a miracle that I actually, where it came from in my head. Where did anything come from in my head with this book? It just did at different times. My mind opened up, and the wonderful things came out. Chapter 9, so this is what a pirate ship looks like. Thomas Patch gets to see his first views of a real pirate ship, which was a dream of his. Chapter 10, Thieves, Robbers, and Thugs. Robert gets a little surprise, I'll leave it at that, from Thomas Patch and Sticks and Tubby. You'll have to read. Chapter 11, Turtle Island Bound. All right, will you let me do this? Thank you. Turtle Island Bound and Old Aggie. Old Aggie is a wart. She's got warts on her face. She's an awkwardly flying, googly-eyed, drooling sea turtle vulture. You'll get to meet Old Aggie and on Turtle Island. Actually, before you get to Turtle Island, on Turtle Island, basically, this is where Thomas Patch meets his counterpart or his buddy Simon. He speaks 7 languages. He's the heir to the throne on Turtle Island. Chapter 12 is Shut Up Eugene. Very funny chapter. Again, you have to read it to understand it. Chapter 13, Her Majesty Queen Gaia, who's Simon's mom. She happens to be the queen of the island. Chapter 14, A Shortcut to the Shortcut of Mr. Tony Sennett. What a night. Mr. Tony Sennett is a singing crocodile that fashioned after Mr. Tony Bennett, my jazz idol. God rest you, Tony Bennett. I miss your music, but it transcends time. Chapter 15, The Pirate Ghost Ship. Very, very long chapter. It speaks for itself. Chapter 16, The Golden Skeleton Key number 1, The Tower of Pirate Doom, and The Tunnel of Pirate Screams. In order for Thomas Patch to find Blackbeard's lost treasure of gold, there are 3 parts of a treasure map that have to be all together, and 3 golden skeleton keys. Now, I mentioned that Scar had 1 golden skeleton key, his older partner, Silas Barnabas, and there's a chapter on him, The Grave of Silas Barnabas, and Morgan the Pirate, which you'll meet in the chapter, The Pirate Ghost Ship. All right, when they were all alive, they each got 1 of the golden skeleton keys. They each got 1 part of Blackbeard's original treasure map. Now, the last surviving partner gets all 3 parts of the map, all 3 golden skeleton keys, and you have to have all 3 parts of the map, and you have to have all 3 golden skeleton keys to find Blackbeard's lost treasure of gold. Okay? That gives you an idea of why Scar came back to Schooner Bay Cove. He wanted to find the grave of Silas Barnabas. Think about it for a second. Chapter 17, The Black Powder Express and the Well of Lost Pirate Souls. Very good chapter. I like it, basically. But again, Thomas Patch is continuing his journey. Chapter 18, Golden Skeleton Key number 2, The Hanging Rope Bridge. If you like blood-sucking vampire bats, then you're going to love this chapter. Chapter 19, Golden Skeleton Key number 3, Blackbeard's Revenge and the Grim Pirate. Chapter 20, Up, Up, and Away. It's back to Pirates Cove Bay, and that's, guess what, page 663. I told you it was, you have to be vested in it. Chapter 21, here's To a Beautiful Pirate Conspiracy. I'll drink to that. Chapter 22, I'm going to make the pirates an offer they can't refuse. Chapter 23, Mutiny. Chapter 24, Let's Go Home. And this again, like I mentioned to you, I came up with the pictures. To be a small publishing house, I think it's extremely rare for them to actually put pictures in the book, but I had them do that for each chapter. And this just goes to show you Chapter 1, Schooner Bay Cove. Alright, and again, you're going to have to read it to understand it. There are pictures throughout the books. That's mugs of beer clanking together. Alright. The back of the book, alright, it has a little synopsis of what the book's about. Alright, I'm not going to read it basically. If you want to know what it says, you got to go out and get it. And to show you that I actually did read it, here's my ugly mug about the author. Alright, that's me, Christopher David James. Grew up in a small town called Union Beach, New Jersey. And like I said, this is what I'm going to be doing from time to time, showing you the book. I'm going to go through each chapter one by one. And you'll get a chance to know what some of the chapters are about. I'm not going to read them verbatim from beginning to end because it takes away from it. I hope if anybody out there bought the book, you like it, again, hit me up on my YouTube channel. Let me know what you thought. And again, I'm very proud of the book. And just to make mention, this I had mentioned that there are some beautiful things being said about the book that aren't coming from me, and I tend to take them with a grain of salt. That's just the way I am. You don't, if it's too good to be true, you don't. If it's too good to believe it, it's not true, or along those lines. You know what I'm saying? And this idea of saying that this is the treasure island of the 21st century, like I say, I take it with a grain of salt. If it's true, I'm beyond honored, beyond blessed, but to put me in the same category as my literary inspiration, who wrote Treasure Island, Robert Louis Stevenson, the legendary, I hope it's true. I'll leave it at that. But like I said, I'd be honored and blessed if that was being said in the literary world. But like I said, I don't deserve that, because he's a legend. I'm a debut author. I'm just getting off the ground here. I hope it will come to be true in the future. Ladies and gentlemen, I wrote this as an animated film. That's why it's very descriptive, very narrative. Sometimes people work from the book, and they luckily get their novels made into a film. I wrote this as an animated movie. I could see every scene on the big screen, whether it's Pixar, whether it's the great Steven Spielberg or Sony. Every scene basically is so descriptive. That's how I wrote it. So I kind of worked backwards with the book. I wrote it as a film, and I put it into a novel form, which will hopefully be later turned into a movie. But like I said, to God's ears, we'll find out. Like I said, it's not because I wrote it. It's because I think it would be a wonderful animated movie. I hope you think so, and I hope you'll believe in the same. But like I said, leave me some feedback as to, for those of you who read the book, let me know what you thought, and I'd be grateful, and I'll get back to you. Like I said, I'm not computer savvy, but I'm learning my ways. But again, it's been my pleasure, and happy pillaging and plundering. I'll talk to you soon. This is Christopher David James. Enjoy your Saturday.